right, everybody. So we have set up a camera that is essentially trying to get the best view. It's being able to see me and the road and some over there, some over here. So bear with it, because this is what the video is going to look like. And what we're wanting to see, what I'm wanting to show you, what it's like to drive an 18-wheeler. And the camera's going to be behind me, and I'm going to be talking, but I'm never going to be looking at you. So just know that I'm going to be explaining things that I do as I do them, for those of you who've never been inside of an 18-wheeler, a tractor trailer combo. But clearly we're not going to see the trailer today. Hopefully. If we see the trailer in this video, there's something wrong. I have really screwed something up real damn bad, and it's about to be my ass. Okay, so we've already done our pre-trip and everything this morning. I stopped to get fuel here at the Flying J, and I've already got my GPS coordinates set. I'm just heading to where I'm going to be spending the evening. So what we're going to do, we're just going to start the truck. So we're going to foot on the brake. I turn the key to the right. I don't crank it just yet. I can hear the air go up and back down, and then you turn it forward and it fires it up. So we are fired up. So now, because I just turned the truck off before I started this the recording, I don't really have any gauges that I need to level. They've already leveled. My air pressure is where it needs to be. All my oil pressure is fine. My battery pressure is fine. I just filled up my fuel. My DEF is full. Everything's where it needs to be. So what you see here in front of me, this is my GPS. This is my phone. I keep it here so that I can always see when somebody's calling me. There is an app, if you get the Garmin, that seems to work better on Androids than it does than the iPhone. I don't know, because I have to always go in and physically Bluetooth connect and everything. So I'm gonna put this on silent. So that doesn't work out. So if you have a Garmin and you're like, well, it has a feature where you can see, well, it doesn't work always for me. So I like to have my phone right here. I do always keep my phone plugged in for the most part, because I get a new phone every year, so I don't really care about the battery, honestly. And my iPad I have as a backup GPS in case something goes wrong over here. So I'm actually going to set that real quick. I'm heading to the Tamarack in West Virginia, and that's it. All right, so we've got all our gauges, everything's set up. So now all that's left for us to do is to pull out of where we are. And so what we're going to do, we're going to release the tractor brakes and the trailer brakes, the foot on the service brake. I've already done my tug test and all that stuff. So this is just me, what it would look like to just get going after you've already done your pre-trip tug tests and all that, because I literally just hooked up to this trailer. So got that going, got the brakes released, and now we're gonna go. Pulling out of my spot. See, there's a guy and his dog up there. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. I know that the GoPro has a wide angle shot, and it's not going to show you everything that you need to see. Okay, so I'm going around. I don't think you can go through these places too slow, honestly. Especially this one. This is an old school truck stop. There's not a lot of signs. There's not a lot, I mean, there's just barricades, honestly. Barricades are what separates you from where you are and where you can't be. You always want to keep your eyes on a swivel, your head on a swivel, to make sure that you're checking your mirrors. You see all those barricades I just had to pass. I mean, I'm not paying attention. I could have easily smacked one. So I need to take a right. So what I'm doing is I'm as far left as I can be. There's nobody coming to my left. So I'm good. I've stopped. Now I can roll out. As my Mr. John Moore always taught us in class, use all the room that's available to you. I will never forget that. Use all the room that is available to you. No need to short yourself, especially if there's nobody there. Use too much room. That's okay. I haven't been bitten in the ass by it yet. So now I got to make my left here. So I'm going to pull up once I see that there's no traffic coming that way. Everything's clear. And then I'm going to turn. And right now I'm hauling about 40,000 pounds of glass beer bottles. So I mean, I'm hammered down right now. I mean, I'm hammered down to the floor, and this is all we've got. I mean, let's see, 20 miles an hour, hammered down. Oh, we're crawling. This Kenworth actually has it seems like it's got a lot of torque, good for climbing. Now, I say good for climbing. Here in a minute, you're going to see. You're going to see that we're going to be going about 36 miles an hour uphill. But before that, we're going to be going through a way station. Okay, so I'm merging onto traffic here. To my left, there comes a truck. Most people will move over. I mean, it's safe, it's courteous, especially as a driver to another driver. Most people do it. No matter how shitty of a person they may be, most people do it. Most people do move over. And so my GPS is telling me that in 3.2 miles is going to be that way station. Something to remember too, speed limit 70 miles an hour. I'm maxed out right now at 54. I might creep up to 55. But it's important to be mindful if you get too low, and I'll show you this in a moment, but if you do get too slow down to like 45, especially if it's a 70, I mean, it's a good idea to put on your hazards. That lets anyone know that's approaching you from a distance that you're going too slow, or that you're not up to speed, and that maybe they can't tell that entirely from where they're coming from, but it gives them time to get over. And something that really sucks when you're out here is being in the right lane. So when you're coming against not the oncoming traffic, but the traffic that's trying to merge and with the flow of traffic, essentially we're restricted to the right lanes in most places. Yeah, I mean, some people just always ride in the left lane, but especially if it's like if you're going through like a bypass or something around a major city, it's a real pain in the ass because you have so many of these on-ramps that are trying to merge with you. And we have to stay right here, which puts us in a position that we have to keep getting over every single time there's a car coming. And yeah, it's their responsibility to get up to speed, but do I really want to deal with an accident report and possibly killing somebody and all this just based on principle? No, I got shit to do. So I got to be the professional out here, and I try to be that. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this as we pass it, but the weigh station says that it's closed. And so weigh station being closed, very nice, very nice. And it's not because I'm riding heavy, because I'm not. Like I said, my load's only 40,000 pounds. The truck by itself, you know, I'm probably like 73,000 pounds total. 73, 74, something like that. So it's not because I'm riding heavy. They ain't got shit to do with it. The less time that you have to spend at a weigh station, a scale house with the DOT, the better. So it was a week ago, maybe, no, I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago, I was empty, and I was heading to Jackson, Missouri. I was empty, and my pre-pass blinked red, which means you need to pull into the scale house for them to get a second look at you. I pulled into the scale house, and then the arrow said you need to go up on the scale. Oh man, I'm empty. Why are we scaling me? But anyway, so I pulled up, and I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at that red light on the scale. Next thing I know, I hear from the speaker, driver, pull your truck around behind the building and bring in all of your paperwork. Pull your truck around behind the building and bring in all of your paperwork. I was getting a DOT inspection. I was empty. There was nothing wrong with me. They just were checking their box, I guess. So I pulled in, and it worked out just fine for me because I was empty, so I didn't really have a bill of lading for them to look at. He just took a quick look at my logs, which were fine. And then he let me go. 30 minutes exactly from the time I put myself into, because on your Qualcomm, when you get a DOT inspection, there's a specific section in there for on duty DOT inspection, and that takes away from your 14 hours. It takes away, it obviously doesn't take away from your drive time, but it takes away from your 14-hour clock. So that was aggravating, but it was minimally aggravating. It could have been worse, because in case you don't know this, the DOT can always find something wrong. They can always find something wrong with your truck. This thing right here vibrates, so every once in a while I gotta smack it around. It vibrates when I'm in a certain gear. Usually it's like 10th and 11th gear, does this vibrating thing. I don't know, it's weird. So if you hear it, I am sorry that you hear it. I hope it's not unbearable. So you see, here's an example. Like, I gotta get over. So I'm going 10 miles under the speed limit. And this guy is still, he's not making any extra effort to, like, I had to slow down so that he could get over. If I would have maintained the 56 or 57, he wasn't even going 10, he was going 50. And now he's kind of picked up the speed. That's a damn Toyota Camry. Now, why in the actual hell did he not speed on up and get onto the road? I don't know. And I think a lot of people have the mindset, big truck, big brakes. Big truck, big brakes. I mean, that's true. But not stop on a dime brakes. Hell, not stop on a dollar brakes. I mean, these things are like, they'll get smoky on you. So I got to get over, because we're coming up on the truck lane, because we're at Fancy Gap, Virginia. And as heavy as I am, so I have a thing in my truck, the 2019s and before have it in this little screen right here that shows me how many seconds I am away from the truck in front of me, or the vehicle in front of me. It also will show me, it also shows me what their speed is. See, there's a truck here on the right side of the road. I'm supposed to get over, but I can't get over. There's a guy over here on my left. So I just kind of, I'm sorry, guy. Sorry, buddy. So I couldn't get over, and I can't speed up. Really, if I slowed down, guy behind me hit me right in the ass. So there's that. But as I was saying, this will tell me how many seconds I am away from somebody based on the speed that we're going. It'll also tell me how fast that they're actually going. I think it's just such a useful piece of technology. I wish that like non-commercial vehicles had. I mean, I guess you could install this in a 2005 Corolla if you wanted to, but I think it's really cool to see how fast somebody's going, because as you're approaching, coming up on somebody, to be able to see how fast they're going really helps you know what your next move needs to be. I don't know how many companies have that, but Millis has it in all their trucks. So, come on, my shirt's all bunched up. So you'll see, we're going up this hill. I'm hammered down, baby. I am hammered down. And being hammered down, still, I'm only going 35, 36 miles an hour. Got my hazards on. There are 2 trucks behind me doing the same thing I'm doing. And you see guys flying by me. So something about Millis, and not to say we're the only company that does it, because this guy in front of me is going slow. Some of the guys behind me are going slow. But not every truck you see out here is riding heavy. So not every truck you see out here has a heavy load. We have, more often than not, the freight that we move, when they're loading it, we max out in weight before we max out in volume. Because the trailer ain't but so big. I mean, 53 foot is pretty much the biggest that you can get. I think that out like Texas or something, there's like a 55 or 54 footer or something. But for the most part, the bulk of what you see is going to be 53 footers. So 53 foot long, you fill that full of freight. I think it's 53 foot long by 10 foot wide. You fill that full of Cheerios. Well, you've maxed out your volume long before you've maxed out your weight. Cheerios don't weigh but so damn much. So then you run into being able to fly up a mountain fully loaded. Something that very rarely can we do here at Millis. I find it hard to believe that all these trucks that are passing me are empty. And I really find it hard to believe that they're just simply got a stronger truck. But this is a part of why you have to. This is a part of why your trip planning. If you know you're going to be going through mountains, you need to plan that way. You need to plan accordingly, and know that just because the GPS says you're going to be somewhere in 5 hours 45 minutes, you need to know that that's really going to be more like 6 hours 30 minutes. Because sometimes these hills can really get to you. Because if the GPS thinks I'm supposed to be going 65 miles an hour the whole way, if that's what it thinks, but I realistically spend ever how many hours I might spend doing what I'm doing right now, having to crawl up a mountain, that's cutting into the average mile per hour, and so therefore its calculation is wrong. And when you have what essentially is erroneous data based on what it knows about you, you need to, or what it thinks it knows about you, you need to calculate accordingly. So here we go. We got another guy up here that's broke down. So I see a Ram with a trailer coming up to my left. So I'm going to put my left turn signal on, and he's either going to speed up or get over. He did both. Because you see that guy right over there. is broke down, or he had a load slip or something like that. So even when we're going up a mountain, if you can at all possible, get over, because when we go by vehicles or anything that's broke down, it has like a, you know, of course, a blowing effect. It like pushes it, and if somebody could get knocked over if they're standing up trying to fix a load, or a little kid like might run out. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that can happen. So anytime you can get over, you should get over. When there's a vehicle broke down. But you see my man here in the fuel truck, I mean, he's gone. It's just all kinds of different speeds out here, which is, I mean, it makes it kind of easy for us, because most of the time we go up these mountains loaded, so we kind of know we're just going to be over here in the timeout lane, you know, hanging out. And that guy up there, I would be willing to bet, is going slower than me. So I'm probably actually going to have to pass him. So I'm going to put my turn signal on. I put my turn signal on, and some guy, he still decides he's going to want to come past me. There you go. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. How about you bite my ass? How about that? And then he gets over. Once he passes me, he gets over. I got to let off the accelerator, because once this right here gets to 1.5 seconds, it's going to set off my inside camera. That's going to take well, it's not only that, but it's going to beep and aggravate the hell out of me. But you see what I had to do there? I had to let off the accelerator as to not hit him in his ass when he came over. And now it almost put me going the same speed. I lost momentum. I'm going out the same speed as the guy I was trying to pass to start with. I'm picking up a little bit now, but you know, now the people coming up behind me are like zoom, zoom, flying around me like, you're asshole. There's another truck coming up behind me. He's hauling an intermodal unit. That green box. But yes, I'm passing this guy, and I figured I'd have to. He was in oversize. Looked like he was. So I'm checking my mirror here, making sure, since he is oversized, that my trailer's not doing anything crazy. But you see the old Kenworth's doing its thing, climbing this mountain here, passing this guy. I think he's got a Kenworth too, though. Maybe he's heavier than me. I'm not maxed out. I'm pretty heavy though. Let's see, what's he got? Let's see. Oh, Prime. I mean, all of Prime's trucks are maxed out at 63 miles an hour, but that ain't got shit to do with climbing this mountain. That's a Freightliner. So I'm not really married to any brand, but I do notice that we pass a lot of Freightliners and Internationals when we get in scenarios like this. Like, that's a Freightliner right there that I'm passing to the right. So now I'm going to get it back over. Once I've cleared his nose and I know that I can get over without hurting anybody. So now we're up to 44 miles an hour. Okay. So now we can turn off our hazard lights. We're picking up speed. We're at the top of Fancy Gap. And for the most part, we're pretty good. I mean, we're about to go through the West Virginia mountains. Oh, my stapler broke the other day, so now it makes a flopping noise when I'm driving. So now we're going up a mountain, we're going back down one, not quite as steep as it was going up, but you got to maintain your speed. Otherwise, next thing you know, you'll be going 80 miles an hour or more because you have so much weight that's pushing you down this mountain or down this decline. And I keep an eye out. I have a digital readout on my GPS, and I have a digital readout right here that comes with the truck of my speed. A digital readout of my speed here. And I have, not that it's always right, but both on Google Maps, which is what I have running here, and my Garmin, it shows the speed limit where I am. Again, it's not always right. Do not always rely on those tools for that. But, so that beeping noise that you just heard, that beeping noise is, if I can kind of, so what happens is if I cross over a line, it's like a lane assist. It like helps out. I don't want to do it too far. Let's see. Nah, I don't want to do it too far over. But essentially that beeping noise, when it sees that or thinks I've crossed the line, like that time I was coming up on one of those wedges for the other lane that was ending, but it just letting me know, and it'll beep either from that side. There's a speaker on that side that's dedicated to that, and then there's a speaker right here. And I think that's more designed if you're sleeping. It doesn't do anything to the steering wheel. It doesn't pull you in any direction, but it will. Again, that's another one. You do that too many times, your camera's going to go off, and they're going to be checking out like what's going on in there. Why are these bells and whistles going off? But it can be a nuisance, especially for somebody who doesn't typically drive tired or do a bunch of crazy stuff all on the road. I mean, it's just aggravating whenever I'm going through construction. We do have a button here that can disable it for like 15 minutes. But I swear I think there's like a daily limit on that thing, because there's been times that I've hit that button after I've had a long day of construction, and that's really why that button's there, because when you go in and out of construction, there's lines all over the place. So you can flip that for like 15 minutes or whatever. It'll let you not have to hear it, and it won't send off any triggers or bells and whistles. But I've used it so much because, when you go through, Wisconsin has a ton of construction all the time. Indiana, what a nightmare. What a bullshit nightmare of road construction. And it seems like the roads never are fixed. Like, when I drive through Indiana, I get physically ill. So it's 65 miles an hour through here. I had to really make sure that I maintain my brakes, because right there, you got the police right there. All it would have took is for me not to be paying attention to my speed going down that hill, and you get nabbed for it, man. It don't take much. The good part is not only do we have the regular brakes, but we have the engine brake. And essentially, the very basic way that I can explain an engine brake works is it uses like a baffling of air to slow the truck down and engages its brake that way. It's not an actual pedal of any kind, so you can probably hear my engine brake, or you might not be able to hear it. It's pretty quiet inside this truck, but I don't know if the microphone's picking up the engine brake when I let off the accelerator, and that's how it kicks in. So this right here, so when I flip this forward, this is drive, neutral, reverse, which I didn't just turn right then, obviously, because I'm driving. I'm not an idiot. But that's what that is. But if you go up and down with this, so other trucks they have it on a button. The newer trucks, 2019 and beyond, you adjust it this way. So this is no engine brake. This is level 1 engine brake, level 2 engine brake, level 3 engine brake. and level 3 is the most. On these trucks, you actually can pull down on this and hold it for a few seconds, and it'll do like an extra. It'll just go all in if you're running into an issue where you're having trouble stopping. But that's not. I mean, I've never had to use that, so that's nice. I've got that going for me. So when you're going through these mountains too, another thing to think about is your traffic around you. People are going to be going around you because you're going slow, and they're going to maintain a certain slower speed. Let's say you're going 50 and the speed limit's 60. They get around you, they might be going 55, which is faster than your 50, but then once you start going back downhill, they haven't changed their speed, but you are, because you're picking up speed. You got to pay attention. So like right now, it shows I'm 1.9 seconds away from that guy, and I need to keep it that or more, because when it comes time to stop, there just ain't no easy way to stop 75,000 pounds. I mean, we have the equipment to stop it, but not as fast as we might need to. I tell you, at some point, I plan on doing a full review. I don't say full review. I don't really do a full review of anything, but I plan on doing a review of the Garmin here, because I have really enjoyed it. It has not messed me up at all. So there's a police officer right here in an F-150, and I need to get over. Even though he didn't have anybody pulled, it's not a bad idea to get over when you come up on a police officer or any emergency vehicle that's on the side of the road, because they might be getting out, walking around. They might have to get out for something themselves, and I don't know, get something out of their trunk, whatever. So it's a great idea but the problem is, it's not as easy for us to get over. It is that Toyota Sienna right there, so you can't just hop over, which is why just then it took me a little bit to get over, because there was people back on my trailer on my left here. It was just, so now I'm going back to 50 miles an hour in a 70. So I couldn't get over, so I had to kind of merge over a little bit and take up a little bit of room in that. But if you can't do that, at least you can do slow down and put your left turn signal on, or whatever direction you're trying to get away from. Put your turn signal on so that they can visually at least see that you tried to get over, and maybe you just couldn't get over because of the circumstances that traffic wouldn't allow. So back to the Garmin. I like the Garmin. It does a good job for me. I don't have any particular brand preference, be it Ram McNally or Garmin. I got the Garmin because I feel like Garmin has been doing GPS units like the entirety of their life, and Ram McNally did atlases the entirety of their life. So which one do you weigh is better? It's hard to call it. But when it comes to the technology, like the actual hardware, since they've been doing the hardware for longer, I went with the Garmin. It was in my training truck too, but I was going to get it before. I had already researched that I wanted the Garmin. It was just a pleasant surprise that when I was in training, that the Garmin was what he had. So if I had to recommend, I would say the Garmin is a good way to go. You can't really, I don't think you can go wrong with it. But there's some Ram McNally guys out there that are just hardcore Ram McNally guys, and that's whatever. I don't care. I'm not hardcore anything. I mean, I love my Apple products. I love them. But I'm the first one to tell you when something takes a shit. I mean, I am. I'm the first one to tell you if something's not right, something doesn't work right on it. Like forever, as long as I can remember, their Bluetooth technology has been shit. I mean, like my AirPods, they disconnect and all that other stuff. I mean, this phone's been out since like 07. 07. We're talking 12 years here. Get your Bluetooth right. But I tell you what, whatever. That's not what you're here for. There's just a few things that are inconvenient. A lot of things that are inconvenient when you drive an 18-wheeler. My number one least favorite thing about doing this job. BT, is it that you're away from home? Nope. BT, is it you don't know where you're going to sleep every night as far as where your truck's going to be parked? Nope. Nope. No, it's none of the typical inconveniences. It's people that don't go the damn speed limit. Come on. And I've been blessed, because I've been talking to other drivers and like, well, BT, that don't really happen to me. Well, good for you. But I've been blessed with, I get behind folks that are not just going not the speed limit, but they're going like 14, 15 under the speed limit. 14 or 15 miles an hour under the speed limit is unacceptable in any reality that you may live in. All right, so we got another car coming up here, so we're going to get in the left lane. We've got plenty of room to do so. They got their hazards on. Maybe they just broke down. Maybe they're taking a piss. Okay, so here we are. We're back to, so I'm going 57, speed limit 65. But to be fair, I am coming up on a curb that says I shouldn't take it any more than 55. And those curve limits are not set for us. They're set for cars. So if it says 55 around this curve for cars, we need to probably be doing less than 55. So usually when it says 55, I'll drop it down to 51 or 52, maybe 49. If I have beer, like in bottles, like if I have liquid that I'm carrying, not that it's the same as being in a tanker, but it's a force to be reckoned with if you have like liquid moving inside the bottles. So right now I have empty bottles. So I mean, it's a little bit less that I got to think about, just a little bit less, because I don't think about it that much when I have loaded bottles, but just a little bit. Coming on the curve here. I like to be on the outside. You see a lot of trucks that go on the left side. I like to be on the inside. I'm sorry. I like to be on whatever the right side is. I like to be over here. I just feel like it's a little bit safer if I have to ditch the road and head over here than for me to have to take a median, because this is a concrete shoulder. Yep, there's a lot more going on over here. I get it. There's trees. There's a whole entire fall that you have to deal with over there. But if I had to quick go around something, I think this would be a lot less to deal with than me having to cross into another lane of traffic. All right, so I see this guy. This guy's going 55, 54, speed limit 65. So I got to slow down. And for me to get back up to speed is going to be a bitch. I see right now I'm coming up to a hill. So I'm going to have to hit this hill, because there's all these cars coming past me. I can actually try to get around them now. But I need to pick up momentum if I can, just before I get to the hill, so I can climb it a little faster, because he's going 11 miles under the speed limit. Maybe his truck is limited to that. Okay, so there it is. So I was 1.3 because they're going slow behind the Eagle Express truck. But if you ever wonder what it is that keeps drivers from being able to make their deliveries, or what would cause somebody to be late, other than just an accident, something as blatant as that, then this is the stuff that you have to deal with as a driver. So you see, I got a car coming up that exit right there. I can see it, maybe you can't. So it doesn't make sense for me to go ahead and hop back into this lane. He's already merged on because he was a smart one. he sped up to get in front of that truck. But you have to be looking ahead. I mean, like 15 seconds ahead is what they teach you. Look ahead as far as you can to see what you're about to have to deal with. It's a constant day of fitting a 73-foot puzzle piece into the damn world. That's what it is. Driving a truck is exactly that. Every day. Every day. So I find myself checking the right mirror even when there's nobody on my right lane. I like to look over there to make sure that I'm not too far, not too close from that white line. It makes it especially easy when I'm going around a curve to, instead of seeing the spotted line, the dotted lines, I could just look at the solid line and see how close I am to that. So speed limit 65. Okay, he's going uphill 64. He's doing pretty good. And these are just things you have to combat with. You've got to combat with them all day long. And I know maybe you already knew this. Maybe when you thought about getting into truck driving, maybe you were like, oh, well, I figured all that would be the case. Well, you are, I'd say less than 5%. Because I know me, even like before I got into truck driving, I had no idea the calculations that went into almost every single thing that a truck driver has to do. I mean, it is all day long making sure that you don't kill yourself or somebody else. Yeah, granted, I mean, it'd be the same thing in a Chevy Aveo. You're trying to make sure you're not killing you or anybody else. But when a Chevy Aveo gets in an accident, it don't make the national damn news. I'm making national news if I get in an accident with this 73-foot truck. You don't want to be on national news. In case you didn't know that, write it down in your As I Become a Truck Driver notebook. And it's real frustrating as you're driving. You have all these other drivers that you know are limited below you. Like as far as, so like I have a 66 mile an hour governor on my truck. Well, like all of Prime's trucks are 63, as I mentioned before. Well, they might be hauling empty, so or light or whatever, and so they'll pass me going up and down. But then I'll pass them when I get out back up to speed, and it's just a constant back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It gets to be a real pain in the ass. But if you followed any of my other videos, the shit I have to deal with out here in this truck pales in comparison to the shit I had to deal with in the elsewheres of my career choices in my adult life. So as I try to wrap this up, because I know it's been a long video and I feel like somebody needed to watch this. If I get one view and 1,000 thumbs down, I feel like that one view is why this video needs to be made. Yeah, the video, the camera died. I didn't have it plugged into the charger because the microphone I use plugs directly into the GoPro's charging port, which whatever. But you got the idea. I hope it was helpful. But I appreciate y'all watching the video. If you ain't subscribed, subscribe. If you like it, tell me you like it. Until next time, drive on, driver. Y'all stay safe out there.